smartest show on TV. And in one of the episodes, Homer suggested, could God make a donut so big he couldn't eat it? Personally, I find all of these sorts of arguments, these sort of causality arguments, to be a form of GIGO, as the computer guys say, garbage in, garbage out. It depends on what you're starting off with your premises. Something like this: if God can create a stone so big that he cannot lift it, then he's not omnipotent. If God cannot create a stone so big that he cannot lift it, then he's not omnipotent. Therefore, God is not omnipotent. Therefore, God is either just another flawed being or he doesn't exist. Or the paradox of perfection: if God exists, then he is perfect and the creator of the universe. Perfect beings must create perfect things. The universe is not perfect. Therefore, the universe was not created by a perfect thing. Therefore, there is no God. And so on. There's a whole range of these sorts of things. Obviously, you see the flaws in these. Well, you're putting garbage in at the beginning, so I'm not buying your premise by which you got to the conclusion, and that's my point. You can set the stage, you can sort of prime the pump to come out at the other end the way you want it to. So I think psychologically what's going on here is you're starting off with the premise God exists. Now, what arguments and reasons can I present to support that belief? This is called a confirmation bias in cognitive studies. We all do it. You look for and find confirmatory evidence for what you already believe, and you ignore the disconfirmatory evidence. You remember the hits, you forget the misses. Everybody does it. In science, you're not allowed to do it, or that is to say, if you don't find your biases, your confirmation biases, somebody else will, usually with great glee in a published forum, to debunk you. And so that's the problem with these. I think psychologically that is what's going on. And it's an example here in religion, but it's true in politics. Liberals see the world a certain way, conservatives see the world a different way, and they filter through the arguments for and against, so they're equally passionate and equally cogent in their arguments. Atheism is self-refuting. You said, yeah, absolutely, of course. It doesn't even exist. It's an idiotic term. It's like a Bigfootology. I guess I'm an Bigfootologist or something. It's sort of a meaningless thing. It isn't a group. It isn't a movement. It isn't a belief system. It isn't anything. I just don't believe in God. That's it. Just forget the labels. It'd be like being an communist or something. Well, that's nice, but what are you actually for economically? Can you give us something positive, right? So, and in any case, on this question of belief and morality, I'm often disturbed by this idea that you need to believe in God. Why belief? Why not how you treat other people should be the ultimate determiner of your fate, or how moral you are, or what you've done with your life, what you've done to make the world a better place. Why belief? Why all this obsession about belief? The first 3 commandments of the 10 commandments are nothing, they're just about believing in Yahweh. And he's jealous, and he's going to get you if you don't believe if you believe in these other gods and so on. What has that got to do with morality and how we should treat other people and interact with other people and resolve conflicts over difficult moral issues? Nothing. So, to me, whether there's a God or not, and whether I believe in a God or not, is sort of irrelevant. You should be doing these things anyway, whether there is or not, because they're the right thing to do. And that, I argue, is an Enlightenment secular value that we got from the American experiment. It doesn't matter what religion you are in America. Here's the rules, and you better obey them. Even if you don't even believe in God, it doesn't matter. You still have to obey the rules, right? So that's an enlightened value system. To which then, this is where I think morality came from, is that we evolved as a social primate species. We have to be pro-social, altruistic, cooperative. And those groups that are not don't survive. And you can measure this, watch it happen in nature. And so, for example, there's lots of experiments. If I propose to you the following scenario: you're walking along a railroad track, and you're standing there at a switch, and a train is hurtling down the tracks coming at you, and on one track are 5 workers that this train is about to go down and kill. If you throw the switch, the train will go down the other track, and it'll kill 1 worker on that one. Do you throw the switch? Almost everybody who's run through this experiment, hundreds of thousands, almost everybody says, yeah, of course I'd throw the switch. I'd save 5. I'd kill 1 to save 5. That's the moral calculation. Something's going to happen. I have to make a decision. You alter the scenario slightly, and you're standing on a bridge over the track. The train is hurtling down. It's about to mow down these 5 workers on the track. Standing next to you is a big, huge guy. And you give him a hip check. Boom! Off he goes down to the bridge, lands on the track. The train stops, saves the 5 guys. Would you bump the guy off? Would you push him off? Physically shove a guy off a bridge to stop the train? Almost nobody would do that. The moral calculation is exactly the same. The intuitive emotional sense we have of what's right and what's wrong is true worldwide of all peoples, of all faiths, even of no faiths. That, I claim, is an intuitive, genetically engineered through evolution program as a social primate species. We have to care for those we are close to or in physical proximity. It's hard to physically hurt somebody. It's easier to do it when you don't actually have to see them and so on. That is where the moral sense comes from.
2 minutes.
I should address the fine-tune argument and the Big Bang thing. The universe had to have a creator. Why? Why can't the universe just have created itself? I mean, these are these ultimate questions that personally I find are best resolved late at night with adult beverages because they're things like infinity. I mean, infinity, an infinite long ago, the universe is infinite or it's not. What does this mean? Are there more whole numbers or even numbers? They're the same. If they're infinite, they're the same. How can that be? I mean, I think our brains are just incapable of these kinds of ultimate questions. So why not just leave it open? Just say, hey, look, who knows? I mean, we don't have an answer yet. We're working on that. Maybe we'll resolve it. For the fine-tunedness, yes, maybe there's multiple bubble universes, virtual infinite number of bubble universes. So inevitably, like the lottery, some universe has to have our configuration of laws of nature that give rise to solar systems and planets that are in the right perimeter and life and so forth. Maybe that might be the answer. Who knows? No, we have no data on this at all. So maybe string theory is right, although I doubt it. Maybe there's some underlying principle behind all these 60 different fine-tuned numbers that we heard about. Maybe. We just don't know yet. And again, humility in the face of ignorance is a virtue, I think, that it's better to just say, I don't know. We just don't know yet. We have half a dozen interesting examples as explanations, but why invoke the God hypothesis when you don't have to invoke anything? It's just okay to say, I don't know. Thank you.